And we're back. All right, y'all. If you've made it to this video, you've probably already watched our character sheet breakdown. If it didn't make sense, if it was too fast and rambly, I apologize. Um, anyway, we're going to talk about Cypher System. For those of you that don't know, who were the uninitiated, like we were when we started a couple of months ago, Old Gods of Appalachia is run on top of the Cypher System. Cypher? Correct me. What is it, Spencer?
Cypher
With an F, or not with an F,
with
but
an
it
F.
sounds like an F. Um, So the Cypher System is um, by Monty Cook Games. They have several other games, other RPGs that use this system, which is why our character sheets in the last video were from the Strange or Numera, depending on which Numera. I'm not sure. I get the idea. So you can find Cypher System core rules on the internet, and it's an even shorter read than the Old Gods book. Like it's literally just the Cypher System without Old Gods or without the Strange or anything else attached. It's just the rules. It was the very first thing that I read, and if you're a GM trying to learn the system, give it a read. It's a great system agnostic breakdown of the core mechanics that I'm about to go over. And just like most RPGs, there's this very small subset of things you need to understand to run the game and to play the game. And in this one, it's pretty quick and pretty simple. Hey, sorry, my dogs sort of being dogs. All right, y'all. So in Cypher System, the player always rolls. This is listed in the Old Gods of Appalachia thing. So I'm very rarely going to roll anything for enemies. Enemies have a level, right? And so there's a difficulty. I said I was going to go over vocabulary. So one of the first things, most important things, is what they just call it difficulty. In D&D, we called it a DC. In Cyberpunk, we called it a difficulty value when it came to trying to hit people. They just say difficulty in this game. Difficulty can be from 1 to 10. And you're saying, hold on a second, GM. We have a D20. That doesn't make any sense. It's because you're not trying to roll a 1 or a 2 or a 3. You have to multiply that number by 3. If I tell you the difficulty is 3, then you actually have to roll a 15. Hold on, a 9. I'm so sorry. You have to roll a 9. So I think I read earlier in the book that like a 6 is like a 25% chance of success. So 6 times 3 would be like 18. So it's a little less than. I'm misremembering. Obviously I'm not very good at math. This will take me a minute. I have a table. The GMs, your Old Gods of Appalachia book has a table that tells you, one means they have to roll 3. 2 means they have to roll 6. 3 means they have to roll 9. So make use of the table if you're bad at math like me. That's what difficulty is. So while we're playing, don't forget if I tell you, this is difficulty of 4, you actually have to roll 12 to succeed. And so now we talk about, I've told y'all before in the previous video, I've told y'all a couple times tonight, you don't add to a roll like you do in Dungeons and Dragons. That's because instead of adding numbers to your roll, you ease or you hinder. Two words we used a lot in previous videos earlier in the night. When you ease something, the difficulty task goes down by 1. If you had to roll a 4 and you have an ability, the situation, there's a lot of things that can ease a roll. You'd only have to roll 3, which means you'd only have to beat a 9, right? Hinder is the other way around. If you're attacking an enemy and he's level 4, then you would have to beat a 12 to hit this enemy. Or to dodge him. If he attacks you, you would have to roll a dice and try to roll above a 12 to keep him from hitting you. If I decide that you blinded him, or maybe you blinded him, and I decide that hinders his attacks, you only have to beat a 9. You only have to beat a 3. Is everyone with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So get rid of the concept of like I get to add this or that to a roll. It's the roll is hindered by so many steps, or the roll is eased by so many steps. You can't ease a roll by more than 10, Um, yeah, more than 10, and they are broken up. So like, I'm sorry. We'll revisit that, okay? I don't want to. I would have to go zigzaggy too much to get where I want to go, so we will revisit that. Um, everyone
God,
good?
this is a good cover.
I fucking love this song.
Like,
I fuck it.
Wow,
YouTube,
this is one of my all-time favorite songs. I don't even like
Oh, yeah.
covers, but I love the string cheese incident.
YouTube can't hear it, but it was someone help me. It's on right now.
Dancing in the moonlight.
It's Dancing in the
Dancing in the
Moonlight
Moonlight.
by
Dancing in
Yonder
the
Mountain
Moonlight,
String Band. Yeah, one of
God,
my
man.
favorite songs as well. All right, is everyone good before I go to effort? Because I have to cover effort before I can go back to where I was. All right, y'all.
Yeah, we're good.
So,
Oh, it's Yonder Mountain String Band. I thought it was Cheese String Incident. My bad.
nah, it's Yonder Mountain String Band. So, effort. How'd I put this? If you want to ease a task, just to ease the task, your situation doesn't help you. You don't have a crowbar, which would be like they call them an asset. You don't have a tool in your hand to help you. You don't have any environmental help or anything like that. You just want to ease the role. You can apply effort. It takes 3 points from a stat pool to apply effort. Yeah, I see Brandon's face. Things are starting to click now, right? The way things that kind of work. With how the pools are both stamina and health and mana. So that means if you want to decipher a secret code, if you want to make it easier, you can apply effort and use those 3 points to lower the difficulty by 1, which is then going to be multiplied by 3 to get the final number. Everyone still with me? It takes
Maybe we'll cover it later, but I'm not sure what the assets are.
Yeah, that's my fault for mentioning something we weren't really on topic for. An asset is like a physical tool in your hand. You want to open a crate? You can ease the task by having a crowbar. That's an asset. It's different than effort. It's
I
different.
gotcha.
It's different than me deciding that like the crate is busted and old and you get an effort. Or I mean, I'm sorry, it's eased anyway because the crate is rotten. It's different. It's a different, you can only ease a task by so many steps using effort, and it costs more to continue to do it. So like if you want to lower the difficulty by 2, you would spend a total of like 5 points instead of 3. um i will I will help you guys with that as we play instead of like go ahead, Spencer.
3 for the first and like 2 for each level after that.
Yes.
And you're limited by how many times you can do it based by your tier or your level.
Yes, that's correct. So if we go back to, and y'all can't see it, I guess only YouTube can see it. You have if you look at the top of your character sheets on the top right where it says tier, effort, and XP, that's where you can put how many effort you can use. I believe it is based on your tier. I was looking for that earlier, couldn't find it, but I'm assuming that's the case.
It just had a per day thing.
Anytime you
Effort.
want, for however many points you have.
Per action, I think.
Yeah, anytime you want. But you're limited, obviously, by the amount of points you're willing to spend out of your pool.
At a time. And the pool.
Yes. So per action at tier 1, you can only spend 1 tier of effort. At tier 2, you can go up, but you have more points to spend out of the pool, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Are y'all feeling okay about hindered and eased and hindered because they're important moving forward? So we're not adding and subtracting. We're raising or lowering the number we have to meet, right? Much different than anything we're used to. So the next couple of things we're going to cover, we've already sort of talked about, is it pertains to skills. So if you have an inability in something, you're hindered by 1 step. So anytime I tell you you're hindered, or especially while we're playing and I'm improvising, if I tell you you're hindered and I don't say like by how many, it's always 1. If I tell you it's eased, I don't say by how many. It's always 1. So for skills, especially if you have an inability, your rolls are hindered. If I decide it's 3 hard to decipher that map I talked about, and you're not good at deciphering maps, you're hindered at that sort of thing. You would have to beat a 4, which would be 12. Trained is the opposite. It's an ease of a task, so it goes down by 1. And then if you're specialized, it goes down by 2. It's eased by 2. You can't make a skill. You can't go beyond specialized. As far as training in a skill, you're only ever going to be eased by 2. But you could, if you're trying to draw a map and you have, I was gonna say a sextant, but that's not right. That's what they use on the sea or something, right? You had a tool.
Compass.
You had a compass, yeah. I might rule that that's an asset. So then you get a third ease, a third level of it being eased because you have that compass. And those, you can stack multiple. You talking to me, Ben? You're on mute. So you can stack things beyond 2 or 3.
Also muted. Ew.
Can
My bad.
also stack things beyond 2 or 3 or 4, but you're limited per source. You can't go beyond like 6 with effort. Assets can only ease things by 2. Training and skills can only ease things by 2. We will, as per most times we've played, we will deal with like the minutia of stuff in the moment. I'm not gonna try to sit here and explain to you guys every edge case. Any questions?
Can multiple people work to ease a task?
There is an action for assisting people, which I think allows you to ease the task that they're doing, especially if we're talking about in a combat scenario. I believe the short answer to that is yes. There are just probably some caveats I'm not terribly familiar with at the moment.
What about out of combat? Like you mentioned the mapping. If you have 2 explorers good at mapping,
I believe that would count. So like in the scenario we discussed earlier, if you were specialized in it, it would be eased by 2. If you had a compass, we would ease it by 1 more. You have another explorer with you who is also, has the skill, I might ease it by 1 more.
so GM discretion.
But as you explained, I think with assets, you can only stack 2 on top of something. So you can't go more than 2 additional points for people having assets like compasses to make it easier. So if a third guy rolled up and was like, I have a compass, or like, I know how to draw maps, he couldn't stack on top of those 2.
Yeah. Someone helping you may be considered an asset. I'll have to look a little deeper into that.
We have Johnny Franks with us. He's always an asset.
He's smart.
We love Johnny Franks. Let's see here. He's smart, he says. Does anybody have any questions? So those are the main vocabulary words, and that's really it. Honestly, like this is the thing I was talking about. If you're GM, you're trying to figure things out. You've never played an RPG before. Y'all just get this. Go look at the table with the difficulty. Remember that you're easing and hindering task, and remember how practiced inability and Oh, I skipped one. I'm so sorry. Practiced. So I covered inability, trained, and specialized, right? That was trained is you get eased, specialized is you get eased by 2. Inability means you get hindered. Practiced is like none of those above. It's just the default. An unmodified ability. You don't get to add anything to it. Does that make sense? I don't know why they really gave it a name. I do know why they gave it a name. It's because if you aren't practiced with a weapon, you have an inability in it. That's sort of important. If y'all think about from a perspective of picking your weapons and things like that, if your type doesn't tell you that you're practiced with the weapon, you have an inability in it, so it's hindered to use. Except light weapons. Because light weapons, specifically, their attacks are eased. Cancels each other out. Didn't know that until Spencer helped me figure that out the other night.
I mean, I'm assuming anybody can pick up a stick and swing it.
Indeed.
It's weird. It makes sense, but at the same time, like the fact that they used the whole hindered system, and then the like inability and practice system kind of makes it a little confusing. It's like two separate systems for the same thing, which is kind of weird.
It is different, but that's my biggest advice for those of you if you've never played Cypher System. If you're watching this because you just don't, you want to play old gods, you don't know what's going on. That's the very basics you need to run the game. There's a difficulty, you make it harder, or you make it easier, and decide on the fly or decide ahead of time while you're prepping what's going to make things easier, what's going to make things harder, whatever works for you. But that's the very basics. Is that little difficulty, ease, and hinder? If you can get that, then you can play with a D20. All y'all got is D20s. You can play something. You can do something approximate. All right, y'all. Anything else before I move on to XP? We might get out of here for 12. We'll find out. Okay.
Make it time.
I've mentioned a few times that XP is both XP as we understand it and a resource. So I liken this sort of to Savage Worlds. If anyone is listening that's played Savage World, I think of these sort of like bennies. I've not played Savage World. I don't think the analogy is exactly correct, but for y'all I'm talking to, bennies are like a resource you get in Savage Worlds. I just don't think they're XP, but you spend them to do like meta things. So if y'all will look in the Blood Moon and Baker's Gap Discord, there's a rules and reference Discord that I put together for us, and I may do the damage track as well later. But I have listed out the things that you can do with XP. Because there's a good bit. It's interesting. So do you guys feel good about leveling up? Do you want me to go over that again, or do y'all feel good about that from earlier?
That made sense.
I feel good about it. I mean, it's mostly at GM discretion as far as earning it, and there are certain things that you can do to definitely earn it, but there's extras that you can give us, and then yeah, we're spending it like normal to level by tier up to 6.
Yeah. You spend 4 at a time to get one of those advancement benefits. Okay. And that is the last little bit, so I'll cover that. I won't spend